What's up, YouTube? It's Bianca J, and I'm here today with a prophetic message from the Lord. And so today's word come from a dream that I had yesterday, which would have been November 29th, 2023. And so in this dream, I arrived at this like light colored greenhouse, and we know that green is the color for healing, right? And so I arrived at this greenhouse, and so I ended up walking in. The inside of this house was so beautiful. And so as I began to look around, there was people sitting around, but everybody was starting to make their way upstairs to the top floor. And so I began to, go up the steps, and I make it to the top floor. I make it to the landing. And so when I look back down the steps, I see it's, people still standing around on the lower level of this house. And then there's some people sitting down, waiting to be able to take the steps. And then it was this lady who was struggling to come up the steps. She actually was crippled, and she had a disability. And so she had those crutches that, like the strap onto your arm, for those people who are, who have a disability, right? And so as she kept trying to walk up the steps, she kept sliding back down. She kept falling back down. And I'm looking around oh, I got to go back and help her. So I went back down the steps to try to help her. And I knew that I would need to, reach my arms out and lay down on the steps to pull her up. And so I went ahead and laid down on the steps, and I put my feet inside of this console so that it could lock me in, so that I wouldn't slide down with her trying to pull her up. And so as I'm pulling her up, she keeps still sliding back down. And so I'm noticing that I'm starting to slide down now. And so I'm like, well, all of these people that's sitting down here, why they're not trying to, they see me struggling, why they not trying to help, right? Why are they not trying to help me? Why are they not trying to help us? And so I began to call for help. I'm like, help. Somebody help me, help. And so these three guys appeared out of nowhere, right? And so they immediately come over to help. And so the first guy, he wraps his arms around my feet as to, he got my feet, so my feet would move as I'm trying to pull her up. And so then the second man, he put his arms around him, as in he's another he's holding him to hold my feet. So he's holding all of us together. And so then the third man, he was like the anchor. He was the strongest man. When I tell you that third man was so strong, y'all, that third man was God. It was the third man, right? And he was so strong. He took his arms and he wrapped his arms around all the two men and my feet. And he put us up. He put us all the way up, and all of us made it to the top floor, including the lady who was struggling trying to get up those steps. And so when the lady and I got, back to the top step, I remember looking around and seeing everybody's faces who didn't jump in to help, right? And their faces had a look of disappointment. They knew that they should have helped, but they didn't, including my mother. My mother was there, and she didn't help either. And I'm just I couldn't believe, Mommy, you see I'm struggling. Why are you not helping me? But she didn't, right? She didn't help. And so those three men came out of nowhere, and they helped. And so I went ahead and broke this word down, right? Because that was the end of the dream. Once we all made it to the top landing, that was the end of the dream. After I seen everyone's faces, everybody that were there, their faces looked disappointed. Remember, I said that part. And so I went ahead and broke that word down. Like I said, those three men represented the Holy Spirit, Jesus, and it represented God, right? So the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And God was the anchor. He was the anchor that put us up. It was by his strength that we made it to the top floor. It was by his strength that we landed on that landing, right? God held all of us together and brought all of us up at one time, and he did it so gracefully. It wasn't no struggle. It was just a lift, and we were all on the top floor. And so I was led to Psalms 37 verse 23. And it says, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his and he delighteth in his way. And so these steps that we had to take, there was no elevator in that house. So this house, in order to get to this top floor in this house, you had to take the stairs. You had to take the steps. There was no way to get there, no elevator, right? And so every person there in this house and who were entering into this house, they had, like I said, they had to take the steps. They had to take the stairs, right? And even this disabled, this crippled woman, she still had to take the steps. Like, it was no way around it. And so this house was God's house. Like I said, it was this very pretty light green on the outside. And I felt like everyone who was there, they were there to get some type of healing from something, right? And so, like I said, but this was God's house. And so although those who didn't help, oh my bad, I misread that. I'm sorry. Although those who were there, we didn't know, and those people who, like I said, those people who were there, they didn't know that they were there for a specific thing in this particular house. Like, this particular house, people were there to get healing, right? Like I said, the color green meant healing. So I know that the people who were inside of this house, it was some type of healing they needed. Maybe it was mental healing. Maybe it was, physical healing. Maybe it was, healing for maybe things that have once, gone dead. Maybe it was trauma. Whatever it was, they were getting this healing in this house, right? Like, the lady was crippled who was on the steps. She was there. She's trying to get to that top floor so that she can be healed. She was disabled. She was getting healed of that disability. She was getting healed of her crippleness, right? And so, like, I helped her to get to the top floor. And then me, myself, even though I helped her, I still needed help myself. Like, I had to call out for help. And the help that came was, like I said, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And man, in the form of men, right? And so that was a test, right? It was a test to see who was willing to be set apart as well. And so this is what how the Lord broke this word down to me. He said it was a test to see who was willing to be set apart, right? And the one that was willing to not just worry about themselves, right? Getting to the top floor, but making sure those with a disadvantage could reach the destination too. And so there was very few people, like I said, in that entire house that was willing to help. Really, it wasn't nobody that was willing to help, just me helping the lady. And then it was, like I said, it was the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit that showed up and helped me. And so, like I said, I myself was slipping trying to help this lady up the steps. But I knew that she needed to get to that top landing. She needed to get to that top floor. And so I was slipping myself. Like, I couldn't carry her. She was dead weight. I couldn't lift her in my own strength. And so, but I wouldn't give up, right? I wouldn't give up on helping her. And so when the load was too heavy for me, I had to call out for help, right? I had to call out for someone to come and help me. And so the three men that helped me, they represent, like I said, they represented the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And so the Holy Spirit was holding my feet so that I wouldn't fall. And then Jesus helped the Holy Spirit. And then God was the anchor that held us all up. And like I said, he lifted us up so gracefully. Like, it was just one, like, so light. And we were all on the top floor, right? And so, like I said, God never slipped. Like, he never slipped. He never struggled. He just lifted us up, and we were on the top landing. And so, like I said, that third man, which was God, was the strongest of them all. And so after, like I said, God lifted us up, the other people that were in the room, they looked at disappointed. They looked at disappointed that they didn't step in, that they didn't try to help, that they just sat there. So those people, they weren't willing to be set apart, right? They weren't willing to put aside them just getting to the destination and help others that were struggling too. And so those people, they missed out on the opportunity, right? They didn't pass that test. And so because, like I said, because they had the opportunity to be set apart and they didn't take it, they didn't know, that who these 3 men were. And once they found out, it was a look of disappointment. And so this reminds me of the story of Daniel, like when Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, when they were thrown into the furnace for refusing to bow down to the king's image, right? And so I was led to Daniel 3:25, and I'm kind of going to paraphrase it. And what it talks about, it talks about when they looked and seen that there were 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound, unharmed. And then they said that the 4th man looked like the Son of God, right? And so this was a teachable moment to the king, that God was displaying his power and showing himself as mighty, just like it was in his dream, right? It was a teachable moment, and God was showing himself as mighty. He was displaying his power, like, this is nothing for me. But you were being tested at the same time, so the lesson was learned, because now those people who were in that house with us, who didn't help, now they know the next time they are to help, they are to step in, right, without thinking twice about it. And so God, like I said, God was displaying his chosen ones, right, the ones who have been set apart for this appointed time. And so that was in reference to my dream, right? And as in reference to in Daniel 2 with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, like, those people were set apart, and God was displaying his power, like them was his chosen people as well. And so this is the end of this word, you all. I just wanted to be obedient and bring this word. I wanted to deliver it yesterday, but I'm behind a few words. I'm going to try to upload at least like 2 to 3 words until I get caught up. But until my next one, you all stay focused and be blessed. And I will see you on my next one. I also pray that this word blesses whom it is for. See you guys on my next one. Bye.